House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
Hafa day, everybody, and welcome to House to Home. Liz and Gina are at Remax Diamond Realty. I am at KUAM. They have much more colorful backgrounds, but you know, I like this. I like my logo. I feel safe in my logo. And hopefully, ladies, you are being safe and healthy too. No doubt there. How are you guys?
We're good. Very good.
All right. Hopefully business is good as well. Maybe not booming at this point, but but doing all right.
It's good.
Okay.
We love real estate.
Well, one of the practices, Gina, you were side chatting about an interesting topic with me. A lot of people believe that if you have cash and maybe in large amounts, that buying a property, that may be a bartering tool. Like you could say, I can bring my I can bring the amount that I'm going to buy from a seller down because I have a large amount of cash. That does have some repercussions though, right? And cash isn't always the great equalizer that many people think it is.
Well, if you're planning on paying for something all cash, the problem you're going to have is, let's say you're buying land and it's 60,000 and you have the 60,000 in cash. Number one, the escrow companies, as far as I know now, will not accept cash payments because it becomes a paper trail nightmare for them to fill out all the required forms. You can take it to your bank. So essentially you're going to have to take it to your bank, put the cash in your bank, which is going to trigger the documents as well. Because you can't take that money and deposit it directly to an escrow company in order to close through an escrow company. I don't know if you could take it to your attorney. So that's something you need to verify, separately. The customer needs to do that themselves.
And are we talking about like actual like cash, like a briefcase full of legal tender, or are we talking about cash as well as like say like a cashier's check as opposed to credit or other means of payment?
No, like everything else that has gone crazy. Now, cash is king, but only if you have it at the bank. If you are carrying your cash or you have it stashed away somewhere and it can't be documented, let's say you need a bank loan, and so you're gonna use the bank. Let's say you're buying the lot for 100,000, and you're going to use 60 in cash that you've been holding on to somewhere, not in a cashier's check, but the green currency. And you're going to borrow the difference at the bank. If you cannot demonstrate or have a paper trail, or you've held it too long, let's say you've been holding on to it, like you went to let's say you sold bonds or your TCD matured and you pulled it out and you held onto it for 3 to 6 months, or even I think a month, you're still good. But after that, if you cannot prove where it was between the time you took it out of the bank and the time that you need to borrow money to bridge the difference so you could pay for the lot or the house or whatever. I've actually run into situations where the bank has declined the loan because they could not demonstrate where that cash was during the 6 months that my buyer was waiting between getting the cash and buying the property. There was 6 months, and he could not demonstrate where he basically had kept it somewhere. And because he couldn't prove that it was that place, because there's no paper trail, it was a lot of money just laying around.
So Liz, am I correct in understanding it's not so much the accounting of using cash, but the accountability that it implies?
Just bear in mind, the federal government do monitor transactions that go through the bank, and the banks are federally required to report any unusual activity in terms of your banking. So for example, if you're depositing, it used to be 10,000, anything over 10,000, there's a paper trail that has to be recorded. They have to document it. Or for example, if the bank sees some unusual deposits, they too are required to report to the federal government. So now it's down to 3,001 penny, that if you go over that, then they still have to, the banks will have to document it. What Gina's pointing out is, if you're getting a loan, they check if you're saying I'm getting a loan and I've got X amount in the bank, and let's say you deposited because someone gave you that money, if it's in the bank for a short period of time, then they will question it. They will require you to justify where did that money come from. And I remember there was one transaction where someone got extra monies in their account because they sold a motorbike. And they required, the bank said, okay, we want to see the paper trail that shows that you sold this piece of equipment and that's where the money came from. So it's part of the terrorist act where the feds want to make sure there's no monies being trafficked through any banks that have to do with terrorism.
So Gino, final word, because like basically having mass amounts of cash is advisable, and you probably should build your bank account, but keep it in the bank when it comes to real estate.
Absolutely. If it has anything to do with real estate and you're going to require that money at some point, what we're advocating for is don't pull the money out of the bank so that you are ready. You're much more ready if you keep it in the bank. And when it's time to write the deposit, then you either write a check or get a cashier's check. But you will run into problems if you withdraw your money and have it ready somewhere while you wait to find that perfect property. It's no longer, it doesn't work that way anymore.
Understood.
A lot of things have changed, and this isn't COVID. This is just things have changed.
Well, you know what? Lesson learned, my friends watching, boys and girls, because, you know, cash in hand, you want to keep your hands free, because wonderful people like Liz and Gina are going to put your keys in your hands, and you can own your new home like that. So do things the right way. Be safe. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me as always. I always appreciate the information. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, and that is our time, everybody. Thanks so much for watching KUM. We will see you next time. Adios.
Bye.